I remember 1 or 2 years ago reading an article about the concerns that people were having that there's so much centralization of the Bitcoin mining in China. And there was a fear that should the Chinese state, co-opt any of these organizations, like we just mentioned earlier, that 40% or so is controlled by three Chinese mining pools, that they are theoretically within the reach of getting to the 51%.
It's now a geopolitical strategy for countries, the biggest capital allocators in the world, to have a Bitcoin strategy. It's now a security at this point. It's like etched in value. Satoshi was quite interesting in asking the question, how do we create digital currency that's independent of government interference? I'm a very proud BTC holder, and I've been holding for the longest time.
My question, why was Monero not able to, what mechanisms did they try to put to prevent this attack vector from taking root, and what means that people use? And I know we talked about game theory, but I'd like to hear a bit more about, like in this case, I believe there's a community that tried to create their own pool and tried to, again, being a very community focused coin cryptocurrency, it had a lot of people who are much more interested beyond the monetary value of the coin, and they're able to bring a lot of miners and pools together to try to get to prevent the 51%, but I don't think it worked. Right, Chris?
Oh, the thing about Monero that I came to learn is, at the end of the day, economic incentive wins in a decentralized marketplace. Because they did try to thwart like the 51% attack. They're trying to push miners to go they're trying to push, they're trying to encourage mining through, I think, a pool called P2P pool, which is a decentralized mining pool. Still, again, it's still miners, but who pull together, but in a decentralized way, a lot of complicated jargon, so that so that they can avoid too much hash power going into Qubic's mining pool. However, the economic incentives on Qubic's mining pool just made it almost like a no-brainer to still keep mining with that pool. And that's how you essentially can be able to achieve that. However, it's very costly to maintain a 51% hash rate.
I read that Qubic was running $75 million daily.
Exactly. But you see, it's not Qubic itself. It's all the miners.
It's 75 spread across.
Or like, so for them, as long as they know that whatever they say goes into the blockchain, so it's an economic incentive game, by the way.
And at the same time, once you get to a point where you know that one party can control the entire ledger, then the incentive for other people to join, not just to mine, but even just to participate in the cryptocurrency drops. So we saw a drop in the price of XRP, which is the token for Monero.
No. XRP is Ripple. It's XMR.
Sorry, XMR. Sorry. So XMR dropped because, again, if one person if I can transfer money to you, but someone else can come and say, actually, no, then what incentive do I have to even play this game? And again, leads us back to the beginning around cryptocurrencies, that we want to achieve an agreement around people who do not trust each other. And that lack of trust is essential in keeping this system running.
But it's the question of, how do we have trust in a trustless system? But that's one of those fundamentally philosophical questions that I think, just being a blockchain nerd, the whole technology tries to answer. It says trust is such an assumed currency. Every day we move around thinking, for instance, that the federal banks will reserve the state of our currency. Like, I mean, the moment we moved into fiat currency, we just think about it theoretically.
And we know for a fact that
always
drops to zero.
Fiat always drops to zero. Like, we moved from the gold standard, like, when? Like in the 50s, 60s maybe? With the US after post-World War II. Like, so
Nixon.
The currencies that we have are not technically backed by actual gold reserves. They're backed by
our belief.
Yes.
Like our belief still holds value.
And now how we compare in the global market, how we compare against a particular market. And so, I mean, Satoshi was actually like quite interesting in asking the question, how do we create digital currency that's independent of government interference? So everything from minting, everything from distribution and value. And I mean, it's come a long way, man. Since 2009, where, I mean, Bitcoin just bought 2 pizzas, to where we are now at a $2.6 trillion capitalization. You know, if BTC was just a company in the world, would it be like number 4 or 5?
What's the market cap for BTC? For Bitcoin?
NVIDIA is at 3.4, maybe as of today, or maybe higher. I don't know if it's gotten to 4. I'm guessing Microsoft, I'm guessing Apple, and maybe Google. But I'm sure, I mean, we can just pull it up right now in like the list of companies by market cap. And Bitcoin alone in market capitalization is probably going to be the most liquid company as well when you think about it.
Yeah. I just have one question though. This is not related to anything. I might just get scrapped off. But Satoshi, is it really Peter Thiel?
No, it's not.
It's not.
Yeah. Okay, it would actually be number 4. NVIDIA as of today, 4.2 trillion. Microsoft, 3.7. Apple, 3.3. Alphabet, 2.4.
But is it a fair comparison to compare it to an organization when this is just a group of people agreeing?
It's a utility too.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because otherwise, what is its profits?
Fair enough.
What is its business model outside being valuable because it's valuable?
The thing about it that the only reason why I've put it in the open comparison is just the same way we're trading stocks for these companies because of the fundamental belief we have in its value. Is the same way people are holding Bitcoin reserves.
Yeah.
It's now a geopolitical strategy for countries, for the biggest capital allocators in the world to have a Bitcoin strategy.
Yeah.
You have a Bitcoin ETF. Because everyone fundamentally wants to diversify. It's now a security at this point. It's like etched in value as we speak right now. I'm a very proud BTC holder, and I've been holding for the longest time. And
it's good you said that because I wanted to bring the geopolitical angle into this. Now, I remember 1 or 2 years ago, maybe 3 or 4, or however long it was, reading an article about the concerns that people were having that there's so much centralization of Bitcoin mining in China. And there was a theoretical fear that should the Chinese state, co-op any of these organizations, like we just mentioned earlier, that 40% or so is controlled by three Chinese mining pools, that they are theoretically within the reach of getting to the 51%. Now, this is, I mean, Monero is big, but it's nothing compared to Bitcoin. So there seems to be some kind of what we've seen in Monero only sheds light on the possibility or the fact that the largest cryptocurrency in the world right now, you said 6 trillion?
No, 2.6.
2.6 trillion can not easily, but it's not so far-fetched to believe that it is possible for a government to take control of all that Bitcoin.
And I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you on that. It is a danger, but it is an extremely expensive endeavor to be able to do that. The China one actually was around 65% of the entire Bitcoin mining hash rate was actually by pools concentrated in China. But I think there was a crackdown. I think that was like around 2021. And the thing about the economics of controlling the stakes of a POW, like a proof of work blockchain, is that the incentive, you can essentially ban the asset that you're trying to control. And that's the thing about BTC. People will just cash out and the value inherently drops. So it becomes an economic chicken and egg incentive where you have to balance. Do you actually, is there really incentive for you to try and control the whole network or not? So that's the first one. I think the geopolitical warfare, as it were, right now is in strategies around reserves and financial, and I'd even say like Federal Reserve policies. around the world. Everyone knows about the dollarization of the world, right? Everyone is holding dollar reserves because the dollars are like the trading currency of global trade. Everyone is benchmarking against that. So the biggest geopolitical concerns I'm seeing right now is how central banks are approaching stable coins, how central banks are approaching BTC reserves, because it speaks a lot to the confidence that people have in geopolitics. And then geopolitics is a cacophony. It's not just because of federal policy. I think it's also war is a big, I'd say war is a big, it's a big motivator and a big weight towards how people perceive like geopolitics, like global geopolitics, with regards to value, nuclear warfare, and like, arsenal and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think BTC will keep growing in terms of many central banks having reserves in BTC just because of mistrust. Like, I mean, think about it, Evans. The only deterrent to war and like from Russia nuking Ukraine today is because if they nuke someone, they can get nuked. Like, we have built massive nuclear artillery just for the purpose of deterrence.
Who's we?
No, I'm just saying, like, as humans, as people in the world.
Our small third world country
Africa actually has
zero, has a few.
Yeah,
we have a few.
we're just watching.
We have a few grenades, but
if anything, we should be the ones with the biggest BTC reserves. If you ask me, because if things hit the fan, and only we're all holding dollars over here, and I mean, but anyway, it's funny how.
But then again,
we're just a button away.
Think about this. If in the case of a nuclear apocalypse, the electrical system is also being taken down, right?
But the electrical system can be up anywhere.
No, but no, think about it this way, where unlike something like gold, which as a stable material, can just, like, if you leave it on the ground, it just stays there, like you get it stable. But when you look at something like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, there is still a system that has to support its
power,
its existence.
Electricity.
That sort of small thing.
No. It's not. But it's very ubiquitous in terms of generation. Like,
and that's why I started by saying, in the case of a nuclear apocalypse, it's not just power; it's also internet.
No. Okay. Internet.
Now let's think about what happens when someone cuts a deep sea cable.
No, let's address those two. Let's talk about power. Power, the only counter I'd have to that is that we really don't depend on the US for power generation. There's so many ways you can produce power. Geography 101, physics 101, geothermal, solar, wind, so on and so forth. Hopefully nuclear, if any country in Africa. I'm just saying, peradventure, we're just role-playing a scenario where World War III has happened.
But we're still being realistic.
Anyway, so that's one. Number two, internet.
That's the hardest part.
I'd hate to say this. I'll give you that on fiber optic cables and stuff, but in Elon Musk we trust, satellite internet now. I mean, unless you nuke the whole... But now we still need SpaceX to be alive.
So at the end of the day, nothing will truly replace gold.
Commodities in general. That's interesting. The gold standard. We should look into that more. Yeah, that's an interesting thought.
I almost feel like at some point, you see how, remember when you talk about the Lindy Principle, about things, being able to outlast, going past time.
But we need to kind of double click on that. I'm a big fan of Lindy. What is the fundamental assertion that the Lindy Principle makes? The Lindy effect.
The Lindy effect.
But they were talking about it as if it's a thing. It's not even a thing. So it's just a thing that was going...
It's a principle that many people believe, including ourselves.
Okay.
It has some basis in reality, where if you don't know for how long something is going to survive, like for example, human life, we know people typically do not tend to live past the age of 100 or let's say 150 at best. So that is a path in which we know the outcome. But there are many other things whose lifetime we cannot tell. For example, how long will we have smartphones? Will we have it for 5 years? Will it have it for 10 years? Will we be using smartphones in the year 2100? So in such cases where we don't have empirical data to give us a baseline, the Lindy Principle states that how long a product or something has to live is basically how long it has been living up until this point.
And the quintessential example that was pointed out is like something that's been in print for decades, for centuries, is more likely to stay in print than something that was in print
so
4 or 5 years ago.
If the smartphone was invented, let's say 2004, so it's only been here for
10 years.
10 years?
50, okay, well,
not 10.
20, almost 20.
20 years. So you'd say, I'd give it another 20 years and then we won't have smartphones. But then the chair, which has existed for as long as,
centuries on
human civilization has been there, then you can only assume it's going to live another tens of thousands of years. And so that's the other thing that we think that, now to bring it back to this conversation, even when we're talking currency, at the end of the day, if I was to think, hey, which of these two currencies between the digital gold and the actual physical gold will outlast, I just have to ask myself, how long have we had Bitcoin versus how long have we had gold? And that gives me my answer, because I can't say for a fact that I can give a timeline on when such a thing, the lifespan of such a thing will come to an end.
Fair enough.
So in such a case, your best bet is always going to be on what has worked so far.
Yeah, I mean, I would not even try to argue against that. Mostly because one thing that's always looming in the back of my mind is something like quantum computing. It could change.
I'm choice words, man.
It could. I mean, it's the same. It's the same. Right now, it looks like all.
Actually, I think our next episode should be about quantum computing, because I've never seen an industry so big that does nothing.
Careful now. Careful how you approach that topic.
No, or rather, nothing in the sense of tangible products that you and I interact with, or whose effects you and I interact with.
Now, I know one favorite viewer of this episode will probably link over here, Mayonara 1 and everything. We can talk about that next time. Yeah, that's a very interesting thing. But I wanted to actually just double click on something about the BTC stuff that we were talking about. The game theory, the economics, the incentives around it. Why isn't like the 51% attack everywhere? Why isn't it ubiquitous, right? So if they are such a big deal, the question that you'd be asking is, why aren't they happening?
Yeah,
right?
Why aren't they as common?
Yes. So I wanted to double click on a very big point there. The economics of attack versus the reward. So doing a 51% attack for any mining pool is insanely expensive. If we're looking at like big chains like Ethereum or Bitcoin, it could cost millions per hour just to sustain the 51% hash rate in both hardware and electricity consumption that you're doing. So it's first of all not a very cost-effective thing to do. Rational attackers might actually
I want to throw you a hypothetical,
because I think the rewards just.
I want to throw you a hypothetical. So let's say there are 10 million nodes that are mining Bitcoin. I am able to get to the 51% control of the network, right? If I then transfer 1 Bitcoin from every single account into mine, and then lower myself back to or just reduce the nodes that I need in order to just always be at that 50, wouldn't that be, what would be like the cost?
So first of all, decentralized communities are always watching mining pools like a hawk, even when they get remotely close to 50% control. So forget even the 50%.
In this scenario, I snap my finger and I have control.
First thing that it would do is it would crash confidence and fundamentally also crash the fundamental price.
Okay.
And that way, you're not just shooting your own foot, right? the thing that you worked so hard to gain control over crashes in price. So really your reward is also crashing. I mean, let me just say, the 51% attack on a network like Bitcoin could crash the price.
It's good you said that because I wanted to ask.
Fundamentally.
Does that make it more or less like a fiat currency?
Doesn't that make
If its price is propped up by the trust that people have in the system,
the trustlessness,
or in this case, trust
the incentive
that it cannot be gamed. Now that if they know that someone is able to game it, and that's caused the price to drop, then doesn't that make it more like a fiat currency?
Well,
I know I'm wrong.
Not really. Not really. I think, first of all, when it comes to fiat currencies, if let's say you're in a country like Kenya, you really don't have the option.
You don't have a choice.
You don't have a choice.
Except if you use Bangla Pesa.
What the heck is that?
You don't know Bangla Pesa?
No, what is that?
There was a time the government was cracking down. I don't know if it was in the coast or where, but they started having their own currency called Bangla Peso. We should do a story on it. It's so interesting.
You know what?
Like the government was straight. There's something wrong. We need to act on this right now. It has become a legitimate currency in whatever small area the guys are operating.
That's actually quite interesting. I'm definitely gonna look into it. Okay. Or maybe at this point this is where we look at the data and say
insert article here.
Slap one here. Bangla Pesa. Anyway, but the point is, if you gain that 51% attack, but at the costs of destroying the very asset that they're trying to exploit, I mean, the ROI just sucks for you. And the fact that people have choice, they can only choose to crash the price of that particular asset. That's why even XMR, Monero's like native currency, dropped by 16% the moment, even though Qubic has tried to reassure people that, hey, we're just stress testing, right? That's one massive thing as well. And the other thing is size really does matter. It is not easy to gain 51% of big chains. Like, it would take enormous amounts of capital.
So the only incentive in such a case to get to the 51% would be to crash.
Yes. It's like trying to
do some crypto terrorism.
Bro, it's like trying to outvote. It's like trying to outvote the entire population of Kenya with your household alone. Like, it's it's good luck, man. Like, it's very, very hard. In fact, people who do it, maybe they just deserve to do that whole edit. I mean, and then the other thing is also community defense. A lot of communities really, really watch mining pools like hawks. It's the way I painted out the nuclear scenario, where maybe the whole deterrence to war is because we can all destroy each other.
We both lose. Mutually assured destruction. I think that's the kind of incentive that's holding together like big mining pools. That same game theory dynamic, where it's if two pools came together and tried to pretty much control a network, the other pools would crash it. So it's more like you want multiple big. It's a kind of a check and balance.
Checks and balances. And when you think about it, I mean, not to be political, but the whole basis of post-Roman political philosophy, where you have governorship and senatorship and things like that, it's always to build them check and balances in between. It's just kind of weaved into the fabric of how we can have a trustless, like how we can have a system that we can trust in among people who may not be trustworthy.
Yeah.
So
I think that is it.
Yeah,
that is it for us. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you liked what you first heard
into crypto,
please hit a like, subscribe. If you are unsubscribing, don't forget to hit confirm, and we shall see you next time.
Okay.